Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to the final Economic Development Authority meeting of the year. Um, Before we get started, some of you may not know that Anthony Brown, this was to be his last meeting. And I just wanted to say publicly, and hoping he would be here, is that he certainly was a welcome contributor to the board. I appreciated his contrarian viewpoints from time to time, which made us think differently about a lot of stuff. He also was able to give us some insight from a small business perspective and really initiated a lot of the things that we're doing today. He will certainly be missed. And talking to him yesterday, he's very happy about some business news for his business that it looks like it's going to be very successful for him. So we wish him the best, and our door is always open. Given that, why don't we get ready? And I must say, I like the red trim around the TV. It's nice.
Goes with the Christmas tree. Holidays.
I have a few comments. I'll wait till the report backs later on in the meeting. Given that, can we do the roll call?
Yes, Chairman. Thank you. Mr. Mitchell.
Here.
Mr. Barber.
Here.
Mrs. Saunders Smith.
Here.
Mr. Brown is absent. Mrs. Cherry.
Here.
Mr. Harmon.
Here.
And Mr. Morgan.
Here.
Chair, we do have a quorum.
Super. I trust, as always, everyone had an opportunity to review the November 18th meeting. If there are no changes, someone move for adoption.
No more.
Second.
Motion is second. Is there any discussion on the item? Hearing none. Mr. Mitchell.
Yes.
Mr. Barber.
Aye.
Mrs. Saunders Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Brown is absent. Mrs. Cherry.
Yes.
Mr. Harmon.
Yes.
And Mr. Morgan.
Yes.
Here, the item is approved by a vote of 6-0.
This time we're excited to hear our financial report.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This morning I will be presenting the financial report ending November 30th, 2025. We ended November with around 6.1 million in cash. We had 1.7 million in receivables. We still have the land hotel air rights at 1.2 million, giving us a total of assets of 22.1 million. Ending November 30th, we had 382K worth of liabilities. Most of that comes from grants we've accumulated but not paid out over the last 3 fiscal years. And then our total net position was 20.1 million, with a slight decrease of 104,000 from last year for June 30th. This statement right here is our statement of revenues and expenses. We had a small refund from the land that we purchased of $1,185. And we had rental income and lease income giving us a total operating revenues of $68,000. We had $122,000 in operating expenses. So far this year, we have paid out $107,000 in grants. We have earned $57,000 in interest income from the banks. And again, our total net position is 20.1 million. Our next report is our year-to-date budget report, which shows what we budgeted for fiscal year 26 versus what we've actually spent and brought in. And again, we have a small decrease of 100,000 from June 30th. Our next report just shows the land we have for sale, which is valued around 13 million. That's all for the top. And the next 3 reports are accumulated grants from 23, 24, so 23, 24, and 25. For those are the remaining grants grants that we have approved and are paid out as of November 30th. And our last report just shows the $107,000 worth of grants that we have paid out in July 1. Any questions?
We will probably have some new members joining us and some of the current members that are relatively new to the board. Next time, can you just spend a little bit of time maybe going through all of the categories in a little bit of detail, help folks get an understanding of the budget numbers?
Mhm.
That would be helpful. Good report. It's good. Money in the bank. That's always good. Brian, talk to us a little bit about the waterfront development.
Well, we have the overhead, a running schedule of key milestones as they relate to the Crawford Bay Waterfront Development Project. We have made some progress since your November meeting. Most notably was the stakeholder engagement meetings that were held on December 1st. So I believe the majority of the commissioners at the table were able to participate in those meetings. We also had members of the city council in attendance, as well as key community stakeholders, which included the leadership of the Portsmouth Partnership, Old Town Business Association. We were also engaged with the representatives from Harbor Tower and Tidewater Yacht Marina. So we had a really robust discussion. A lot of information was exchanged, a lot of good feedback. I think the key takeaway was that there was consistent messaging throughout the day and a very consistent vision for what the individuals who were participating had for the Crawford Bay site, which was a mixed-use community and one that would augment and support the adjacent areas in the downtown. So our next step will be to begin working to move forward with the preparation of the RFP. And then in January, we will be hosting the first of one of two public workshops that will be held. We were scheduled to have on the December 8th City Council work session agenda the development cooperation agreement with the city. However, because of the inclement weather that evening, that meeting was canceled. So we were currently awaiting for that to be rescheduled. I suspect that will also happen in January, that briefing, and then we will follow up with a agenda item on the city council agenda, which would be to adopt the cooperation agreement that has been drafted. Again, the cooperation agreement is intended to identify roles and responsibilities of both the EDA and City of Portsmouth as we work to carry out, deliver the project, and that includes financial responsibilities as well. Any questions? Okay, thank you. Julie?
Good morning, everyone. Our first report today will be for 1028 High Street, which includes 1013 Queen Street, 1015 Queen Street, 400 Hatton, as well as 1020 High Street. The bid closed on December 2nd, and we did receive 7 bids. And the lowest bid that was received, it was $113,850. And the procurement has award or sent a notice of intent to award, and we will be following up with a notice of award for that contractor. and hopefully beginning to work on obtaining the building permit so we can get it demolished.
Do we need to take any action on that?
Yeah, I would, I'll ask for our legal counsel's input here, but I think from a budgetary standpoint, taking some action on the amount of the contract.
Sure. Yeah, I think you could adopt a resolution to enter into the contract for demolition.
I would move that we enter into, we amend our budget if necessary to accommodate the $113,850 award and authorize staff, the chairman to execute contract for that amount.
Second.
Very good. Motion and second. Is there any discussion? Mr. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Garber,
Yeah,
Mrs. Saunders Smith,
Yes.
Mrs. Cherry,
Yes.
Mr. Harmon,
Yes.
and Mr. Morgan.
Yes.
Sure, the item is approved by a vote of 6-0. Thank you. I will just also share with you, I know it's taken probably an extra 4 months to go through this process. And I know we've all been very anxious to get this building demolished. But when we were in a similar state back in, let's say it was August, we had another proposal, which was just shy of $294,000 for the demolition. So having gone through this exercise in procurement, we've actually saved $179,000 in demolition costs. So thank you for your patience, but I did just want to share with you there was a value to going through the process. So thanks again for your willingness to accommodate us going through the procurement process.
Too far. Okay, the next property update will be for 1121 High Street. The bid package for this, the renovation and the roof replacement for these two buildings is currently posted for bid, and it was scheduled to close today. There was a request from several contractors to extend the timeline for the deadline to close the bids, and procurement has granted that request. So the bids will now close on, or the deadline for the bids will now be December 30th. So I feel that the days that this will not cause a significant deadline in our project. So we're moving forward with the December 30th bid deadline.
Were you advised as to why they needed an extension? Do you know?
We did speak with procurement. We questioned why, if this was a common occurrence, and they indicated that it was a case-by-case basis. There were some questions that were asked from the contractors that were provided, and responses were provided to them as an addendum. So I believe they just wanted to get their subcontractors and contractors in order, and requested a few extra days, which the procurement office felt was appropriate. For 1220 High Street, we are currently working with a consultant to prepare the bid package for the renovation and the exterior renovation and roof replacement for 1220 High Street. And we are also awaiting preliminary comments from the engineering department. We did receive preliminary approval from the other departments. So we hope to have that bid package submitted to finance for the end of the year. for at 934 High Street. Thank you to those of you that were able to attend one of our 2 site visits. We visited the site, or we had our last site visit yesterday, and I felt it was very productive for the EDA members to have eyes on the actual property, and I think we'll have a very good discussion about next steps for this property.
That building is suitable for historical tax credits, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Currently working to kind of assess next steps here, and I know we'll be meeting as the working committee on this, but I think really looking for guidance on how you would like to move forward with the property in terms of preparing it, not just for marketing purposes, but for potential end user. So we'll want to have some discussions about that moving forward. I'm sure it was helpful having laid eyes on the property to see what the possibilities may be. And as you probably witnessed firsthand, there's a lot of work that will need to be done in order for somebody to occupy the building. So we'll want to have those conversations just to begin working on a kind of a game plan for how we tackle this property.
Brian, I don't know if you can answer this question, or maybe Julie can, but depending on the type of usage, would it impact what we would do initially? So say restaurant versus co-op working space versus whatever, or the shell will just be a basic shell that anybody can come in at that point and make modifications to. Is that correct? We don't have to do anything.
I believe so. Yes, Chair. I think what any staff recommendation for improvements would be fairly limited. I think really kind of cleaning the property up and clearing it out a little bit. There's some inside, I think, some areas where there've been partition walls put up. It's kind of hard to see what can be done there with what's currently built out. So I think really just maybe opening it up, cleaning it up, perhaps dressing up the storefront a little bit. And I think that might be all that's warranted at this point. But I don't believe that would impact any variety of occupants, tenants, or space.
Thank you.
Thank you. Look back to Brian on small business loan program.
Yes, Chair, we just wanted to give a quick update on the launch of the small business loan program. At your November meeting, you did approve for urging Virginia to move forward. We have been working with them on the launch, which includes the actual build out of their website and ours as well, to allow for materials to be accessed, but also for applications to be submitted. We are looking at a January launch date. In the run up to that, we are working with Bridging Virginia on a press release, which will come out this month. And then we will follow that up with additional marketing and virtual and in-person workshops in January, with a launch really scheduled probably for mid-January at this point. I believe all the pieces are in place and we're ready to go. So excited to make this available to the Portsmouth business community. I've heard a lot of interest in the program, and we're working closely with our partners to make sure that they are aware of the program as well. So that includes the Portsmouth Partnership, PQ Hub. We're working with the Hampton Road Small Business Development Center to make sure they know as they're working with their client that this program exists. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, but I know Leah Freeman with Bridging Virginia gave a pretty in-depth presentation on the November meeting.
Well, I think we're all excited about it. I remember several meetings ago when Commissioner Teresa Sanders brought forth a small business owner, and he talked about lack of capital is something that he struggled with. So I am delighted that we have been responsive in trying to do a program like this And I have no doubt that it's going to yield significant benefits for the Portsmouth business community. Okay, we have been waiting for the High Street Festival briefing.
Okay, we're gonna transition presentations here, but I'd like to introduce Michelle Wren, the Executive Director of the Portsmouth Partnership, and Liz Pasqualini, who's the Assistant Director. They've got a really great presentation with a lot of metrics that they were able to put together. So bear with us as we switch out different presentation modes. There we go. All right, well done.
And there's not a clicker, right?
Here you go. I'll carry that. Yeah, there you go.
Is it just?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, and yeah, thank you all for your patience in this presentation. We hope to be a little sooner after the event, but it did take us a little bit to collect the data. So we're excited to present the data to you. And then, first of all, too, just a huge thank you to this group for investing in what we did and also the change of the footprint and the change of the event this year. So, as y'all know, we followed Main Street principles. And so that was super important. Overview of the event. So we just wanted to share that in case those of you who didn't make it out to event, that's just a really good overview of the energy that was created during that day on High Street. So I think everybody had a great time, enjoyed it. And then the nice piece too is just the brand recognition. So part of what we did this year was to create a brand that hopefully will carry out some recognition and people will know, oh, High Street Fest, let's keep coming back to that. And also not really pegged into a certain day or certain time frame, right? Just kept it very broad. So there has been some talk of, you get a multiple High Street Fest, right? So it's not, it's not a fall fest, it's not a summer. So that was one of the pieces that we loved about the branding of it. And just the numbers. So again, y'all made a $35,000 investment into a total production cost of about $150,000. So I just wanted y'all to be aware that, the investment was significant for you, but also the production of the event was very significant as well. So we raised $21,000 in corporate sponsors in a very short period of time, and also for the kind of the first time doing an event like this. So we were pleased with the $21,000 that we raised, especially coming off of our lighting initiative where we had just raised $50,000 about 2 months prior to that. So we were excited about the $21,000 and also just the in-kind. So we were able to get a lot of in-kind sponsorships. And then the city really doubled down, I would say, on this. Marketing put in a lot of money. And I think that's why we got some of the results that we have gotten. And also the city stepped up and sponsored this in whole, which was fantastic. And everybody also supporting it and buying in because, again, we did this under the Main Street lens. So just some pieces on our marketing. Like I said, we established a brand recognition website and try to really drive this regional awareness and positive into Portsmouth. And again, tying it to our Main Street initiative. So that was the most important thing for us. We had a broad campaign. So we were on TV, radio, social media, lots of different spaces. And again, brought a lot of attention to Portsmouth. And then it generated 2 million total impressions, which again are positive impressions for Portsmouth. I think doing the DORA permit under that and creating, a lot of excitement about that since that was the first time done in Portsmouth. I think that helped generate all the interest in the campaign. Our visit trend data, super excited about it. And one of the great things about connecting with Main Street is some of the tools that we get. So we were able to have Placer AI. So that's something that I know the city's working on having in the city as a tool for all departments. But we were able to tap into our Main Street resources and have Placer AI, which is data that we've never had before. So you can see, like, from our event, we had nearly 7,000 visitors, so 6,500 visitors for the day, which was super exciting. To compare that, December 14th, so that is the music festival and lighting event. They averaged about 6,000. October 4th is the Oktoberfest, about 5,000. And then Saturday, May 24th, that's the Emoja. So something that's significant, in my opinion, about this was for us the first time we ran the event, and we outperformed events that have been traditional in the city for a long time. So that'll tell you the excitement and the buzz that we got as far as our visitors, because again, we outperformed events that have been here and have had a lot of continuing market in and a lot of following. So that made us feel good about what we did and creating something that was a little different in the city. That's 2 times the visitors on average in October, on Saturdays between noon and 5. And then the data going back from 2018 on that particular Saturday. And that's just kind of how AI Placer does the data. So we had to look at that Saturday. I think another interesting thing too, as you can see, like the trends were going up on Saturday visits to Portsmouth. COVID hit, clearly we dropped. But then honestly, since 2021, visits to Portsmouth have been on the decline, which is interesting because we've still had things happening in Portsmouth, but yet overall visitation has been declining. And then with our event in October, we popped up very high. So
How do you collect the data?
Yeah, so Placer AI data, we dropped an event footprint, sort of a virtual footprint, and then it's tracking cell phone data in and out. So it's the number of IP addresses that were tracked in the event footprint.
yeah, which is interesting because you can also,
Scary.
it is very, yeah, because they know, you can do it to where they know where you came from, where you went afterwards, how long you stayed in the city. It's great data to use for marketing. And then to figure out what you're missing as to, okay, where do people go afterwards? So what are we missing in the city to keep people here? So we clearly got them here. So yeah, it's great data to use going forward. I think from like an economic development standpoint, as far as what you want to develop, right? Like what, and then our economic impact. So we're really excited about these numbers. So we had 105 vendors come into the footprint. All up and down High Street. 85 of them were selling something. 20 of them were informational. And these are vendors that we brought in. These are not our brick and mortars, these numbers. So on average, our vendors saw about 100 customers, and their average sales for the day were close to about 600. So total impact for the vendors we brought in were about 10,000 engagements and about $50,000 in sales, which is pretty significant for that small of an area. Also, kind of bodes to the idea that, people will shop in Portsmouth, people will spend money in Portsmouth if you bring them here. And so then also the impact for our existing businesses is the whole reason we did this, right, was to create a footprint where people came in. We wanted a walkable area. We wanted everybody to come outside, so bring their businesses outside on the street. Their average increase was over 118,000.
18%.
18%, excuse me. Yes. Over the third Saturday. And so overall range increase from 37 to 700. So wide range. The businesses that day did unbelievable. So bars and restaurants increased 124% overall in their sales. And then some kind of anecdotal. So everybody and anybody we talked to, their sales were the highest they've ever been, but not by 1,000, by huge amounts. 74, like you can see Beer Garden, 74% increase.
Beer Garden's an institution, right? It's been on the street for a long time. Their percent increase was not as high as some of the folks on the street, but in terms of dollar value, they saw the most dollars come through their establishment that day.
And Hello Sweeties, same thing, again, a 357% increase. So her highest day in 2024 was 1,050. And for High Street Fest, she did nearly $5,000. High Street Pizza and Pour, we just kind of got some quotes. I won't read them to you. Y'all can read those. But they were blown away about what they did in a day. Their average sales on a Saturday is about $4,000. They tracked 4,000 within the first 2 hours. They did over $10,000 that day selling pizza and beer on the street. Little Shops on High, like all of our bricks and mortars, their days were absolutely incredible. And again, it just kind of goes back to what we were trying to create. Care Coffee House, we're super excited about this because hour for hour, they outperformed Norfolk first time ever. Portsmouth outperformed the Norfolk store. So Norfolk is their mainstay, their oldest bricks and mortar that they have, and they outperformed. And then even Kitchen Coop, who was a little worried about the music, actually thoroughly enjoyed the event and was like, do it all day long, anytime. So I feel like we got some wins with some of our longtime bricks and mortar who have been very opposed to closing down the streets. Commodore was one of them. Kitchen Coop is another that have been long mainstays who we want to support, but also don't necessarily like the idea of shutting down the streets, who now see the value in shutting down the streets and bringing people into Portsmouth that way. And like I said, again, all under the lens of Main Street. We wanted to create walkable visibility, come into our city, park your car, walk the blocks, be entertained, and understand that it's a safe community. It's a great place to be. It's a good place for your family. And just creating a buzz about Portsmouth, why you should be here. It's one of the things, again, that we're trying to do through our Main Street initiative. So this was all under that lens. And we feel like that it was super successful for our bricks and mortar to like really model that, you don't need parking in front of your store. People can park elsewhere and come in, walk and enjoy. And then guess what? They actually spend more money because they're spending more time on High Street and they're seeing things that they might not see. So when you're walking, you see things that you don't necessarily see, that when you get in your car, stop outside of here, get your coffee and leave, you miss things that we have to offer. So that's our approach for this. That's why we did the Dora. And we just, again, thank y'all for your support and commitment to doing something that was very large. The footprint was massive, and it was a massive undertaking, but we feel like it really supported the businesses here on High Street and supported the district, and then modeled something we'd like to do in the future, and that's make Old Town a more walkable place where people park and spend the day versus park and spend an hour. That's all I have. That's background. Do you have any questions for us?
Do you have any, what I would call comparatives with other communities in similar type event?
No. Yeah. I mean, we probably could get it from different Main Street communities because we've got a whole network and we meet with them monthly as to kind of what they see and what they do. Yeah. I mean, a lot of them were interested in seeing our data because of the Dora, in all honesty. So, yeah. But yeah, that'd be good to know.
I thought it was a great event. I attended it and people were excited and I was excited to see that. Is it anything that during the event that you thought of and said, I wish I had thought about that? Was it anything?
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely a learning. It's, a learning experience. I think stage placement, our secondary stage was actually bigger than the Showmobile. So honestly, wouldn't necessarily use the Showmobile again. The problem is it's free. So it's nice, or flip that and had smaller bands on that, because the way the music carried against the metal backdrop kind of pushed it out a little bit. So that's definitely some of the things we would change. The VIP area didn't work out like we were envisioning. So that definitely we would change. We had some VIP area in front of the stages, trying to make our corporate sponsors feel like they had a spot that they could kind of get up close because they invested in it. And it really wasn't utilized. So that looked like wasted space. So then people seeing the bands were kind of around that VIP area. And that was modeled after a bunch of, honestly, festivals that I had been to. Like music festivals that, you know, I've seen a lot where your sponsorships get these great little corners. And so we would do that differently.
Placement of vendors was another challenge for us where they clustered, they sort of assigned blocks and they clustered and we had sort of envisioned them being more spread out.
Yeah.
And so it created a few gaps in activities for attendees. It's something we'll be doing differently next year.
Yeah, we'll definitely assign them a space. Like you have this space, you don't just get to go on the block. Because they didn't, we had it all mapped out and we had a great map. We used a program called Market Spread, which we've now invested in and can use a lot, but you know, so we had the vendors all spaced out based on what they were selling, mixed in with some of our informational vendors and things like that. But then when they got there, they just kind of went. And then we had people just, in all honesty, just show up. They weren't approved vendors. And so managing that was interesting, like literally a food truck. It's like, no, we didn't approve you, but they were already parked and in there. And so, that was kind of an interesting, like, we did not expect that. Like, and there was a lot of that. And we asked people to leave. I mean, we had people selling stuff on the street. I said, you can't sell your sodas on the street. I'm really sorry. You know, kind of pack up your cooler and things like that. But, those were all pretty manageable.
Vendors,
Mm-hmm.
there was 101.
105.
Was that inclusive of the farmers market? Because it was all 30 at registered.
Yeah, it was. So the farmers market, they registered with us. So we knew exactly who was staying and who was staying in the footprint so that we could kind of back that. Yeah. So,
What about security? How did that work if I haven't barriers with the alcohol?
you know, so the door permits is different. You don't actually need barriers. You just need signs. And security we will work on. Our security company, was not good. Did not like working with them at all. Actually, they stayed in clusters. They really didn't spread throughout the footprint like we wanted. We had plenty of police presence and then we had the sheriff there as well. So I think we had plenty of security. We didn't have any incidences. So that was good. But really, like I would put trash cans next to the signs. That's something else we would change so that when people are walking with their container, they throw it away versus leaving with it. And then really have like, you know, we had messaged to the security, police and sheriff that they really needed to monitor the openings to just make sure people didn't carry their cups. And I don't think that they did that very well. So that was, yeah, but that's the nice thing about the door is you don't actually have to fence anything. You just have to put up signs to say no alcohol beyond this point.
And you have a record of it, like increase in Portsmouth vendor that participated? Did that, you know, percentage that were actually Portsmouth vendors?
We could pull it.
Yeah, I can pull that.
We don't have that all.
No, because we opened it up to all vendors. I mean, we had a lot of Portsmouth participants, which was great. And then we had a lot of outside participants, which is good too, because it brought people into like from the region that are following different vendors, brought them into Portsmouth.
At the beginning of the presentation, you had a very large number for total impressions. Can you define what that means?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's coming directly from the Davis agency and that's cumulative of all the different avenues we were marketing in. So the billboard, for example, however they track the number of cars that are driving by, number of clicks on websites, social, all
Yeah.
inclusive.
Anytime a user sees our content
Yeah.
across all mediums.
And what was that number? It was in the millions. I guess.
Okay.
Like 2,314,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was high, which I mean, they did a great job. I mean, that's why that marketing budget was 50,000. I mean, you know, so we, you know, created a website that now is owned, created branding that's now owned, that we have all the assets to, but really the amount of money that went into just getting the word out there.
And so in the future, that marketing budget can either be repurposed for other spend to advertise the event, or it can come down because we don't have the branding spend or the website spend.
Okay, so we don't have to build a website, we would need to update a website.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Should come down, but how Peter hasn't given us like how that's broken down.
Yeah.
Like, so we just, asked for an overall, because we had budgeted 10,000 is what we had in marketing and he spent 50.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic event. I mean, it was wonderful.
Okay.
One of the things that I saw at an event, I don't know if we had it here, but they brought in like a fire truck, a police car, EMS, and the young kids could kind of go into it
Mhm.
and see what it was like. I thought that was a nice attraction.
Oh, yeah.
For young.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's another area that, our children's area probably could have gotten dialed up a little bit. So
Yeah, that
we
was-
just think about.
We paid a lot of money for the children's area that was woefully disappointing, I guess is the only word I could say. Like, what they said in the contract that they were gonna provide and what they provided were not the same. So, again, I think we'll tap more into the Children's Museum. They have a ton of traffic and, bring some pieces out there instead. And, we could have done that area ourselves a whole lot cheaper than contracting that. So,
Or even Parks and Rec.
Hmm?
Or even Parks and Recreation.
oh yeah, absolutely.
I think the expansion of the footprint played a part in like the gaps between vendors. You think it's effective, which I do that again.
I would definitely do the footprint again. 100%. I think it was well enough attended. People, love the expansive footprint. Yeah, no, I think it's honestly, I think it was placement. I think we had plenty of vendors. I think it was just placement. They clustered. And so just taking the time to tape or chalk and number and say, you go here, you go here. I think would help the vendors. The other piece too, because we had the vendors in the center of the street, which was really nice. Then that opened up the sidewalks and then having all the restaurants have outdoor dining. A lot of them did little pieces. Like I know like Cure had Jenga sitting out there and they had this whole little outdoor areas where whether you got something in Cure, you could just sit outside, enjoy the day. And I think that helped a lot. So,
I think we have some case studies from restaurants that did it really well this year.
Yeah.
That other restaurants could perhaps learn from and do things a little
Yeah.
bit different.
I mean, like High Street Pizza and Port, he had pizza nobody waited at all. They just ordered pizza, got it, and he was ready to go. Beer Garden, same thing. Here, there's, again, a lot of them that, did really well. The other thing that people really loved was we created, we had all the food trucks in one spot and then created some outdoor seating around that. So it was a vacant lot that's kind of, y'all just cut it, that's sitting there on Green Street where it's been vacant for such a long time and just this, horrible surface. And so pulling food trucks up and then creating seating, it really, made that kind of a spot to go to versus a blight spot. Yeah. So, again, like I would love to see blight strung up next time and spend a little more time in that, cultivating that. So that was good.
And some of the advertisement, and there was some confusion when talking to residents about, this being the first event. Why was it portrayed as the first event? And for that, it's like the new marketing brand that y'all were going for.
Yeah. And that was totally not in our control. So that was Peter and that was Davis. So because the logo was changed and everything was changed, because I kind of had an issue. This was not the first time this was done. Y'all did Shop the Block last year, but because it was new branding, because of the Dora, new dates, they felt heavily, and that was city marketing, and this is how we're gonna do it, and we were okay. I mean, again, they're putting $50,000 into it, and they're the experts, Davis and Peter. So I'm not going to argue with somebody who does this for a living because I don't. So trusted them to make the right decisions, and it's also a city entity, so they're looking out for the city and looking out for the benefit and thinking, okay, this is how we're going to do this. So that's where that came from.
The data that you provided, was that in comparison to the Shop the Block? So when you were
No.
comparing the October, so when you were comparing that date in October of 24, what was the event that was being compared to?
There was no event. It was just.
Oh, okay, just
sort
the
of what
farmer's
the third
market.
Saturday
Yeah.
was done for this past 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah, so like sort of with an event without an event comparison for our brick and mortar.
Yeah, but then talking to our bricks and mortar, the difference, like Shop the Block was their biggest day that they'd had to date. But it was like, for instance, High Street Pizza and Port, they averaged 4,000, they averaged about 4,500, 40, like under 5. Where for our event, they were at 10,000. Like same with Beer Garden. They're like, oh yeah, that was a big day for us. One of our biggest days, but it wasn't the incremental increases they saw. Like it doubled their sales. They increased their sales by, $500 to $1,000, but they didn't double and triple their sales. And again, I think it was that footprint and then encouraging everybody to come outside. And also the other thing you have to remember is you could not buy alcohol anywhere but within a brick and mortar. So that was huge. And then I think the to-go food also helped because that then attracted people because they wanted to see the music, they wanted to be outside and in the event footprint, so they could actually get something to go and keep going about their day versus going inside of a restaurant sitting and ordering food. And I think that was the biggest difference for them. And and I just think the alcohol, right? Like not having a beer truck, not having an outside alcohol sale. And making sure that everybody, all the bricks and mortar had the opportunity to sell alcohol. And that is how the door permit works. You cannot bring in an outside vendor. You have to have a retail license within the footprint to sell alcohol. So it's very intentional to lean into those bricks and mortars.
How was parking for the day? Closing off High Street? Like, was it a challenge or did you see people?
But we didn't hear any complaints about parking. I'm sure it was a challenge. And again, we had some signs out, some, parking here. We were able to use one of the church lots, but then Monumental had a big event and so who did Trinity. So, again, and they knew about our event. But we really didn't hear any complaints about parking. And people were parked everywhere. I will say, parking authority could have had a blast that day and written all kinds of tickets. So, people just found places to park. So again, I think that's a bigger messaging with the city is having, and we talked about that with Peter, is, the city really needs signage for parks. You have no wayfinding when you come into the city. And so I think messaging that and having, parking, and then directing people to the decks. But people found the decks, they were parking everywhere, and then they filled up the lots that we did have. So, I was not, did not hear anybody complain, did not hear any of the businesses complain.
So the only feedback the parking authority got was because our signage is not good, there needed to be more communication in the marketing that the city did to notify people
Where to park?
where to park.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Excellent.
If we have to go into a closed meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I move to go into closed meeting pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.23711 A.3 for purposes of discussion acquisition or disposition of real property, where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body, specifically regarding the acquisition from 817 through 833 High Street, strategic acquisitions and disposition of 219 Pavilion Drive. Thank you.
Motion or need a second?
I'm saying you did.
You.
Open
Roll, Mr. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Barber,
Yes.
Mrs. Saunders Smith,
Yes.
Mrs. Cherry,
Yes.
Mr. Harmon,
Yes.
and Mr. Morgan.
Yes.
Chair, the item is approved by a vote of 6-0. We are now entering a closed meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I hereby move that each commissioner certify to the best of his or her knowledge only public business matters lawfully exempted from the open meeting requirements under the Freedom of Information Act, and only such business matters as were identified in the motion which the closed meeting was convened, were heard, discussed, or considered in the closed meeting just concluded.
Second.
Motion and a second. For any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Barber,
Aye.
Mrs. Saunders Smith,
Yes.
Mrs. Cherry,
Yes.
Mr. Harmon,
Yes.
and Mr. Morgan.
Yes.
Chair, the item is adopted by a vote of 6-0.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to Move, a resolution for the acquisition of 617, 628, I should say 817, 823, 825, and 833 High Street. Whereas a purchase agreement has been prepared for the acquisition of 817, 823, 825, and 833 High Street. And whereas the purchase price of that agreement is $900,000, and whereas the acquisition of the property will further the revitalization of the Lake District, now therefore be it hereby resolved that the board hereby approves and ratifies the agreement. The chairman and vice chairman are authorized to execute the agreement. The chairman, vice chairman, and secretary and their designee are each authorized to take such further actions as necessary or desirable in their sole discretion to implement the terms of the agreement, included without limitation the execution of the documents to complete closure on the acquisition of the property. This resolution shall be effective immediately and upon its adoption.
Thank you.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the item? Hearing none. Mr. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Barber,
Yes.
Mrs. Saunders Smith,
Yes.
Mrs. Cherry,
Yes.
Mr. Harmon,
Yes.
and Mr. Morgan.
Yes.
Chair, the item is approved by a vote of 6-0.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move that we add an item to their open meeting agenda for 219 Pavilion Drive.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Barber,
Aye.
Mrs. Saunders Smith,
Yes.
Mrs. Cherry,
Yes.
Mr. Harmon,
Yes.
and Mr. Morgan.
Yes.
For the item is approved by a vote of 6-0.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move that the board authorizes the chairman to grant an extension for the feasibility period for 219 Pavilion Drive, if necessary and requested by the purchaser.
And you say 30.
In 30 days, 30-day extension.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. For any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Barber,
Aye.
Mrs. Saunders Smith,
Yes.
Mrs. Cherry,
Yes.
Mr. Harmon,
Yes.
and Mr. Morgan.
Yes.
Chair, the item is approved by a vote of 6-0.
Items. If it is the desire of the board, I would, like to see if we can look at revising our holiday, event to make it more of a, sit-down event in which we, recognize Small Business of the Year and other activities, to make it more formal, than what it's been the last two occurrences. Any feedback on that, I would appreciate it. And if it's something we do, maybe Brian can run an analysis of what that will cost versus what we're paying now.
Absolutely.
I think that's a great idea. I think, we should change up the format of it. And I think also we should possibly invite past board members to that one to talk, because it's a continuing of actions with the boards. And I think that would be a nice thing to kind of recap what's going on.
It's a great idea. So a kind of formal seated dinner.
If we start early, we can get the marketing department to film certain business.
Oh, absolutely.
It could be highlighted.
And I'd like to discuss with you the concept of recognizing businesses there, so we can kind of figure out what that will look like. So, yeah, that's a great idea. We have plenty of time to do that, so we think we've got to lose the evening, so let's start working. Okay.
I had two sort of questions of staff. Have we had any updates on the lake branding?
Yes, and we are awaiting I guess a branding launch from the marketing department. So I believe they and the Davis agency have made some updates and are preparing materials. I think they're also finalizing the budget to know how those dollars that have been allocated this fiscal year, how those will be spent. And if you'd like, I can get a formal report back for you.
I was just,
It's close, it's imminent. I would say it's probably within the next 30 to 60 days.
30 to 60 days.
And that would include, I believe, some gateway signage and I believe wayfinding signage.
That would be important.
Yes.
The second sort of thing is related to that. Any update on the RISE grant implementation?
Yes. In fact, we received an update last Friday that the engineering work for the High Street corridor is underway. I guess they have awarded that to an engineering firm. They're in the preliminary stages of beginning the design work. So it's underway. I think that process will take probably a 12-month period.
Yeah.
It's a fairly big project. In addition to the roadway, there's utility infrastructure, there's right-of-way acquisition that has to be made as well. So that is all underway. Yes, sir.
Along the same lines, I thought we were looking for a grant for 934 High Street. Do we have the status on that?
Was actually for 1117 and 1121 High, which is the Port Host grant that we applied for.
Yep.
And we're just waiting on the state's notice of award. Those should come out. Historically, they've come out in December, early January. So we're just kind of waiting to hear what that award might look like. So it should be soon, which will, I think, sync up nicely with the timing of the bid. So, yeah,
Okay.
we're on a good schedule for that.
Question, could we possibly have staff look into the interested business for 1220 High Street? I did see online that they have a second location now, and I'm a bit concerned about where that leaves 1220 High Street in the future.
Julie, do you want?
Sure, yeah. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. I did reach out to Miguel with Bridgeport Coffee, and he still has plans to pursue a tenant or to be a tenant within 1220 High Street upon renovation. And the grinding operation of the coffee that will take place at our location.
Gotcha.
So that he still has that expensive machine that he purchased. It's like in storage, so it's awaiting arrival.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Just to follow up on that, is he responsible for the interior design work? Is there a point where he's gonna kind of show us what that looks like, or are you waiting for the exterior work to be done?
So I believe that there hasn't been any formal agreement that has been made between the EDA and Bridgeport Coffee. So I feel like that would be appropriate for him to have some kind of assurance that that he would that he's going to be able to go into the spot. Look back at what he provided previously, and he did mention to me when I spoke with him about his new location in Chesapeake that it did give him a better sense of what he would want this location to look at, like as he was planning the update of that location.
You probably don't know the address offhand, but if you could just
send it to myself, any other commission, like to swing by and take it.
It's on Poindexter in South Norfolk.
I do believe that there's a grand opening on the 18th. That I can send Brian.
It's next to the, what's the children's center?
For kids.
For kids,
Yeah.
yeah. It's right next door.
Well, this concludes our, and,
I do have some.
oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I do have some report backs.
Here,
Commissioner.
before we get the report backs, just, we have an event upcoming next June that you all need to be in tune with, because it's, the first time in 14 years that we're gonna host tall ships in our harbor to I mean, this is obsale, like tall ship kind of stuff. And so, Chair, my suggestion to you is to consider inviting Peter Glagola to an upcoming meeting to fill you all in on the preparations that are being made for Sail 250. Sail 250 is Norfolk's going to use it to adjust their Harborfest date. Portsmouth is using it to adjust our Seawall Fest date. It's scheduled for the 18th through the 22nd of June this coming year. We have 3 tall ships committed to the Portsmouth waterfront. Peter is our city rep to the regional Sail 250 committee, has been doing all the work with the committee to make arrangements on hosting the tall ships. And then Peter's also done a lot of work what the city plans to do in conjunction with the Sail 250 event. But it turns out there are several other entities around town that have things in mind to do concurrently with that weekend. Has the potential to be High Street Fest on steroids, because there's been interest expressed from people like bus tour companies in Northern Virginia and other places that are interested in perhaps collaborating with folks here in Portsmouth to bring bus tours to town for that long weekend. So opportunity to really pump up our hospitality and restaurant business. As I said, first time since 2012 that there will be this many tall ships sailing together. So again, my suggestion, Peter is the right guy. He's in the middle of it now. And it would be probably worth this group's while to hear from him soon.
Yes, yeah, we can look to have Mr. Glagola come in January, February, get that on as an agenda item if you.
You still on items submitted?
Yes.
Okay, I had, when I went to High Street Fest this year, I had an opportunity to go in and talk to some of the business owners. And one of the grants that we have that is under use, I believe, is our marketing grant. And so when I was talking to the businesses, a lot of them were 1 and 2 person businesses, and it was very, very difficult for them to get out to training and to anything else. And they really didn't even know how to market. And one particular shop owner, I think she's next to Roger Brown's, the little, can't think of the name of the shop.
So, right.
So, no, not So Right, the one next to So Right.
Little shops.
Yes.
Yeah, little shops.
Little shops. She was showing me some of the things that she had in there, like the American Doll clothes, which are, I mean, they're really expensive. And she, hey, that would really be a big seller. It was items in there that would really be big sellers for her, but she really didn't know how to market it. So recently I was involved with an organization, and we had hired a videographer to record our event. And then at the end of it, they gave it to us so that we could break it down in 20-second intervals and that kind of thing to put on our website. And I thought about it and I said, maybe, you know, that marketing money, maybe we can look at something like hiring a videographer to work with our small businesses to get some important information that they would we want put out there. And they could do the whole video and give them their little portion that they could put on their website. And as well, the city could use it when it's marketing. Because I think we need to do something to help them to market out because they're lost about that, a lot of them.
Chair, yes. Augie, could you take a moment to just speak about some of the marketing workshops and things that you've offered recently, and then how that might tie into, you know, one of the grant programs?
So we just started a series of marketing training. Of course, they're during the daytime, but we understand that all businesses can come out. But we do make all of our trainings virtual and in person so that people who aren't available to come in can still access them from their business or home. But we conducted a series. We've done 2 so far, at least once a month. We'll conduct a different training that's focused around marketing. And then we, when we do our grant information session, we will indicate that funding can be used for third-party services, which is marketing. We try to encourage businesses to use that funding because that is an area that most businesses don't have a strength in. So those are the efforts we've done so far, but I'm definitely would be, you know, interested in sitting down and discussing how we could push that more businesses to take advantage of that marketing money.
I mean, how much funding is in the grant for marketing services?
Well, it's not,
Depends
it's not
on-
specifically a marketing grant, it's an eligible use of the funding. So we have the 2 different grant programs for small businesses are the development grant, which is $2,000, and the acceleration grant for, you know, businesses that have existed for up to 10 years. So that goes up to $5,000. So that's a pretty considerable sum of money for, you know, marketing. If you need a videographer or somebody to come and, you know, do a kind of a sizzle spot kind of reel, if you will, or, you know, social media campaign, or even help, you know, develop a website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So do you have training? So if I wanted to learn how to leverage social media for my business, is that part of that training as well?
Yeah.
But when you talk to them, it's like a lot of them are older. They really don't even understand the whole concept of social media. So that's why I think they need our help to help them. Like, you know, I know you're doing a great job. It's not about us, what we've been doing for marketing, but I think that I think if we could help them in some way to set it up to like a videographer for all of those small businesses down there.
Yeah, we have different companies come in that are third party, because we don't want to have a liability, but we recommend anyone to them.
Right.
They're free to network with those presenters after the training and take advantage of those services, but we could compile a list where they could reach out and decide which marketing company they want to pursue. Just so they can have an idea of like who to go after for marketing services.
That's also a key feature of the Main Street program as well. It's marketing.
I should follow up what Main Street can do for us, what we can do internal.
And we'll reach out specifically to little shops and just give them, you know, some literature and then make them aware of the upcoming training sessions that we've got for any workshops that may be coming, whether it's marketing related or whatever else, because it's a pretty diverse scheduling of programs that Autumn has. So we'll make sure they're aware of that. You know, sometimes there are businesses that just don't know those resources are here. So we'll reach out to them directly today. I did have some report backs unless there's any other items submitted by the commissioners. Well, the first is a thank you for your sponsorship of the holiday reception. Last Thursday, I thought that it was well attended in spite of the somewhat limited notice that we were able to get out. with respect to invitations. We had a nice crowd, attendance, and we appreciated your sponsorship again of that event. It's become, I think, something that people look forward to because I get asked about it often. But I'm certainly very interested in trying to maybe upscale that event and do it a little bit differently, give it a refresh here in the coming year. But I wanted to say thank you for your support of that event last week. The other item I have is I want to just introduce our newest team member, which is Phyllis Drake, our new grant administrator, who is now going to be overseeing all of your grant programs. I'm putting Phyllis on the spot. I don't think she was going to do this, but she's here. And Phyllis joins us. She's got a really great history with managing grant programs. She was actually a grant administrator in the city of Portsmouth several years back, and has a great finance background. So she's diving into all those grant applications and quickly figuring out the status of those. But here I put you on the spot.
Sure.
Ask you to say a few remarks about yourself.
Sure. Just happy to be back at the city. Just happy to be back at this time. We're just doing so many great and wonderful things, and just be able to work with all of you and just get your input and feedback as we navigate this process.
So she is bringing some new energy to the grant program as well. And we're still actively involved, and Autumn's working with the small businesses, and we're really trying to make sure that this program is running as smoothly as possible, and expediting any grant assistance that we're looking to provide as well. So we're pleased to have this on board. We have another member who's joined our team. She's not here with us this morning, which is Megan Moses. She is our new workforce development specialist. She's going to be working with Leo Akajobi in that division. So she joined our team just last week. So we are restaffing some positions. You'll see some other new faces coming on board soon as well. And we'll make sure that you get introduced to those individuals also as they join the team. So just wanted to share that with you so that you're familiar with all these faces that you may see. And share that. Those were the two good report backs I had.
Also wanted to just extend my appreciation to all the commissioners. We have done a lot of good things, and I think sometimes when you're in the middle of it, you don't have a chance to reflect on the work that has been done. But as someone who's been on the board for quite a while, and I'm sure Neil would agree, there was a time when the meetings were like 25 to 35 minutes was a long meeting. And we just kind of went through things. But the work that we've done over the last 3 or 4 years has been monumental. And it certainly is going to have a positive impact on the city. And I think it's happening because we have like-minded people on the board who really have a vision for where they would like to see Portsmouth go. And I just want to express my deepest appreciation for all of you for your hard work and commitment. These are unpaid jobs. And many of us are doing them after hours and taking calls on the weekends as well. So thank you very much, and I hope you have a happy holiday and get a chance to spend time with your family and loved ones.
Thank you.
There's nothing more. That concludes our meeting for today. Thank you.